Okay, in part one, we looked at the parts required. In part two, that's this part of the project, we're going to look at wiring up the electric motor. Now, I did miss out two sets of parts from the previous video, so sorry about that. Sorry about that. Oh, look at that. But these are the bits I missed out. These are called sleeves, so they're two. They can be any colour, these, but it's the diameter that's the important thing. You see the red ones are slightly larger diameter than the green and yellow ones, and electricians use these for electrical insulation, so it protects bare wires from touching something they shouldn't. So what we're going to do is join the electrical wires to the motor, and here are the two terminals of the motor that allow us to send the electricity into the motor, and that axle there should spin when electricity flows in the motor. So what we're going to do is we're going to prepare the wires first. Here they are. As you can see, I've already cut through the insulation of the wire, but haven't pulled the insulation from the end of the wire yet. So when we do that, look, pull off the plastic insulation. We don't need that. It exposes separate strands of wire. So what we're going to do is, even though it might look as if, well, you could just continue as they are, just with those strands sticking out, we should always twist them up really tightly, and that stops them from spreading apart. Each individual tiny little wire, and there are 7 of them there, each tiny one there, if it does move around too much, it'll snap. So you'll gradually sort of reduce the effectiveness of the cable, and you won't have very much to connect to the motor. So twist them all together, make them stronger. You'll know if you've done it correctly if you've got quite a good straight line of shiny conducting wires all twisted around together with no bits that stick out at the end. So that's really important. We're going to have to feed this through the small hole in the back of the motor, and if you've got little parts that stick out, then it just opens the whole wire out again as you try and push it through. So let's prepare the other one. Same thing again, pull off the sleeve. Even though it looks nice and straight, that doesn't matter. You've got to twist it really tightly like that, really tightly. So not quite finished yet. Look, we've still got these little strands sticking out. Twist tightly right up to the end. Last one. Here we go. Should do it the quick way. So if you hold the wire up like that, pinch the end of the cable, and then twist the wire around. If you've got a firm grip there, it does the same job. So there we are, lovely straight wire, no bits sticking out at the end. Right, let's move on to the motor. So here are the terminals at the back, and we've got these small holes that go all the way through, and the wire is going to go through the hole. But we can't push the wire too far through because the plastic insulation of the wire would make contact with the metal connection of the motor. So that isn't any good. So what we're going to do is just do it halfway. So we'll pull that wire back through, and then what I'm going to do is bend it upwards to create a V. Took it back in. Bend it upwards to create a V. So that V shape there is really important. And can you see the same amount of sort of bare wire goes down towards the hole as comes back out through the hole. So try and make the V, just like a letter V, very even. Now, close the hook up. There it goes. Now that's very loose, and it would just come loose if we used it in a vehicle. So now we've got to pinch the end of the bare wire, pinch the end, hold it tightly, twist the motor, and as you can see, that starts to twist the wire back onto itself. Now we're really going to try and do that really tightly. Fingernails are a help, and that's nice and tight there now. Now even that can move around, so we're going to secure it properly and cover over the bare wires using a sleeve. So there's our sleeve. So let's try and get that in a lovely straight line there. So we've got a lovely straight line leading up to the terminal of the motor. We're going to pop in the sleeve, pop on the sleeve, and the sleeve slides all the way up. Now the best way to do this, look, is not to push the sleeve. It's best to try and keep the sleeve still and then pull the wire back through. So if I put the sleeve on like that, hold the sleeve, pull, it slides in. So there's our secured wire. Right, let's repeat. So, a bit harder this time because we've got this wire, the one we've already connected, is in the way a little bit. So here we go. Form the V shape. Hold on to the bare end and pinch it against the rest of the wire. Twist. Try and keep the other cable out of the way. Try and do it nice and tight. Don't pull too hard on these things, but you want to twist it nice and firmly. So I'm gripping finger and thumb, look, twisting firmly, and that forms a secure connection. And now I'll put the sleeve on. On goes the sleeve. Now here's another way to do it, look. Let it dangle, so it's difficult to show you in the view we've got with the camera here, but let it dangle downwards. Pull the wire up, but don't pull too hard until you get to the point where you know you've lined them up. So let's line them up, look. There they are. Now grab the sleeve, pull the wire, and there we are. No bare wire visible. No bare wire visible. That's really important. So if you've only half done this like that, that's not good enough. It has to be completely covered over. Again, to secure it, I mean, plastic wires like this can get in the way, so let's just keep them together. So I'll just do a few twists, look, finger and thumb, a few twists of the motor. There we are. And that just makes sure that these two separate sleeves and wires aren't put under any strain pulling and pushing them. So that's a way to secure it by a few twists. So now what we're going to do is use the fasteners. If you were going to make a connection to a battery, well, bare wires like this aren't very good at all. They'll simply change shape and alter all the time, and they're not very strong. So let's make them stronger by using a metal paper fastener, and we'll touch that against the battery. So here we go. The sleeve's going to help us with this. Bare wire goes up the sleeve. A tiny little bit of the bare wire sticks out, so what we're going to do is bend it over. So that forms a little hook over the top. And there it is. And now push one of the fasteners down. And it goes like that. Repeat for the other one. So bare wire goes up through the sleeve. A tiny bit sticks out. Tiny bit of the bare wire sticks out. Bend it back over, right back like a little hook. And then push in the fastener. Remember, we've got a bare wire inside here, and that bare wire is going to touch against the metal fastener. It's a quick way to make these connections. It's not perfect, but it's easy to modify, adjust and improve if it doesn't work. Easy to take the thing to pieces as well. So now we're in a position to test the motor. So all we need to do is keep the battery still for a second. Easier said than done. Now I can hear the noise and I can see a little twitch of the motor every time we complete the circuit. So when we complete the circuit through, both connections have to touch. Then the motor starts. Now while we're at it, look, we'll add that little part into the mix. And that's our little pulley. And you can see the pulley's got a cylindrical part. And then it's got the grooved part. Well, the grooved part has got to be the furthest away from the axle. So there's the groove, there's the little cylinder. Grab it by the grooved part, push it on. Now you've got to push it quite firmly, but I don't want you to push it too far. Look at that, we've got lots of space there where the axle is. We can see it quite easily. So that's quite firm there. It's not going to fall off. Don't push it on too far. There we go. A fun way to test your motor is to actually hang it up in the air like that, hold on the connections, and then let it spin. And as you can see, it goes absolutely crazy. Fabulous. So don't over test your motor, you're just going to flatten the battery, give it a quick try, and then we'll move on to the next video.